Hello again, I'm Reese, and welcome back to Dice at Arms, where we're going to take a look at how to put together your forces for Conquest, the last argument of kings. Now, whichever army you have chosen, be it the medieval knights of the Hundred Kingdoms, or the fury-filled dragon slayers of the Dwegum, whether you're playing 500 points or 3,000, this video should help you understand how to put an army together. One thing I will definitely suggest is for you all to take a look at and play around with the army builder on Para-Bellum's website. It's a brilliant tool that really helps speed up your list building process. I'm going to be going with spies for this video, as they're the other half of the two-player starter set, and I haven't really started playing around with lists with them yet. I also haven't built the models, so big thanks to Vanguard Andy Sparker for allowing me to use photos of his amazingly painted army in this video. First things first. In order to take any regiments, we must first take a character. In fact, this is something unique about Conquest, it's just how character focused the army building is. We'll be taking the Ferromancer from the starter set, but you can have as many characters as you want, as long as you take them with a regiment of the same type. So if you're taking an infantry character, this must be with an infantry regiment, or if you're taking a cavalry character, it has to be with a cavalry regiment. You must also then choose one of your characters to be your army's warlord. This gives you a supremacy ability to use, typically once per game, which in this case is Suppress Survival Instincts, which give every regiment in your army +2 to their resolve for the remainder of the turn. Some characters have additional abilities that you must pay a points cost for. Here, for example, we must choose a Ferromancy from our list of options. I'm going to choose Ferromantic Drive. It is the most expensive, but giving a regiment essentially 2 turns in combat if you want to, well, I'm sure you can see that's very powerful. We can also choose from a list of items. Well, these for Spires, these are mutations. For Hundred Kingdoms, these are called heirlooms. For Dwegum, they're relics, and for Nords, they're called trophies. For now, I'm not going to choose one, at least not until we've decided on our regiments, which, coincidentally, is our next step. Each character has access to different selections of regiments, so if there's any in particular you want, be sure to choose a character with access to them. Now the starter set comes with 6 stands of force-grown drones, 3 stands of brute drones, and an abomination. So let's take a look at those. You'll notice some of these regiments are listed as Mainstay, and others are listed as Restricted. For every restricted regiment we want to take, we must take a Mainstay regiment. So let's do that. We'll split our 6 force-grown drones and take 2 regiments. Now you'll see every regiment has a minimum size, which for these guys is 3, and for units such as the Abomination or the Jotun of the Nords, that minimum size can be as low as 1. If we had more models, we could increase the unit size, which in this case would cost us 25 points per stand, although for other regiments this will cost more. The force-grown drones probably are the cheapest unit in the game at the moment. Now we have a number of command models available to us. These are typically a standard bearer and a leader, but the Spires actually combine that role into one, called the Pheromonic Node. We also have faction-specific command models, in this case the Catabolic Node. It's a biobomb that detonates the first time this regiment uses a clash action. Nice! So, coming back out now, we have 2 Mainstay regiments in place. So let's take a look at our restricted options. And remember, we can take 2 because we can have 1 for each of our Mainstay regiments. We're going to be taking here a regiment of 3 brute drones. That's their minimum size, and these guys have no upgrades. So that was nice and easy. We're also going to take then the Abomination. And that also has no upgrades. Rounding out our little army here at just under 600 points. And this is a really great starter army, just so you can get used to playing the game. But what about if we want something bigger? So let's build on our list further, expanding all the way up to 1500 points. And in doing so, we'll cover a few more options you have in list building. We've already got 4 regiments for the Ferromancer, which is the maximum you can take per character. So let's add another character. We'll grab a High Clone Executor, and we'll need to stick him with a regiment. Well, he's pretty powerful combat-wise, so let's take him alongside some Vanguard clones. Then we'll give them an Assault Preceptor for even more attacks, and then a Standard Bearer to help them close in quicker. For a restricted regiment, let's take some Marksman clones. This will give us a bit of ranged power, which we haven't got in our list up till now. I'm also now going to switch our Warlord over to the High Clone Executor, in order to make use of his very powerful Supremacy ability. We'll make his threat even bigger by giving him the Cascading Degeneration mutation. Well, that's a mouthful. Which means when we use our Ferromancer ability on his regiment, the enemy stands in contact will also suffer from decay. I also now want to try and protect him a bit more, so let's add a couple more stands, so when his regiment takes damage there's a few more models that need to die before he's going to be removed from the table. We'll do the same with the Force-Grown drones, and finally we'll give our Ferromancer the Biotic Wellspring mutation. Now this brings us all the way up to 1345 points. Excellent, because there's still a few more things we can do with those spare points. Our characters are already looking really strong, but there's a lot of stuff we haven't looked at yet, and those are Retinues. In fact, these are so important because some of our mutations, or heirlooms, or trove finds, relics, they cannot even be taken without a retinue. So what are they? Well, retinues are available only to infantry characters, and they take up slots on the character stand. They're usually represented by models, but they really don't have to be, they're just cosmetic. Now, a character can only have as many retinue members as there are slots available on its stand. When a character is removed, their retinue is removed as well, and any bonuses they confer are lost. Retinues come in categories, and some can only be purchased by specific characters. Then, within those categories are tiers, which must be purchased in order. For the Ferromancer, we shall take all three tiers of the Mastery of Flesh retinue. Now this is limited to spires, it's only in their rule set. In tier 1, the character may, as an action, choose a friendly character within 12 inches and roll 1 die. On a 1 to 2, you heal 2 wounds for that character, otherwise you'll heal 1 wound instead. And that's just 5 points. For 20 points at tier 2, the character gains Resist Decay +1. And amazingly, for tier 3, we can take and activate an additional Ferromancy each turn for 30 points. We've just increased the potency of our Ferromancer quite a bit for 55 points, but we do still have to pay for that other Ferromancy. Let's go with Induced Vigour to give ourselves a bit more manoeuvrability. For our High Clone Executor, we'll be taking tier 1 in Tactical. Now this will just give ourselves a reroll on our resolve saves. But the final piece of the puzzle, when it comes to list building, is Masteries. These are yet another type of upgrade for your characters. And I think you might have noticed by now, this really is a big part of list building. Now a character can only select one mastery from their allowed lists, but those masteries can be picked multiple times throughout the army. If you want to do so, however, you will be paying double the cost of its previous purchase. For example, the first time you buy Eccentric, it costs you 20 points. For your next character, it would cost you 40 points. And if for some reason you were looking to buy it again for a third character, it would cost you a whopping 80 points. Let's give our High Clone Executor the Long Lineage Mastery for 15 points. This allows him to then take a second mutation, and will take Degenerative Aura for 10 points. Just walking into combat now will cause an enemy to suffer from decay. If you combine that with a second round of combat granted by the Ferromancer, and then cascading degeneration triggered from that, just simply being near the High Clone Executor should result in many dead enemy models. As you can see, we're still a few points under our 1500 point goal, but while this list is yours to play with, there's still loads more you can add, or of course you can make something entirely different. I hope this has helped you out with your list building for Conquest. I'm sure you can see there's a lot of ways to tool up your characters, to enhance their strengths, or give them new abilities entirely. Next video, I'll be continuing with Milestone 2 of the 100 Kingdoms on our path of Conquest, but I'm really excited to come back to the Spires. They've got so many great ways to kill people, and I've got the other half of the starter set. Thank you very much for watching. I'll have more for you very soon.